keep the, I don't give a shit about any of the badge information at all. About to me. Okay.
Yeah, I just want the stuff. What I want is, I also want communication projects and PFCs. That's what I really want.
Right. Well, so she's gonna send me that stuff.
All right.
Like she's gonna send me the responsive stuff, and then.
Man, I don't look very pretty today. Do I look pretty?
Wayne, you look great.
Thank you, baby.
We also have a cost estimate on the.
So, I just
We're
was.
trying to get you back up here. Hold on just a second. I lost you.
Oh, where'd I go?
I got you, but I'm.
I've got you.
Hold on. You can hear me. I just lost the visual. Hold on.
Yeah, I can see you good. I don't know why.
Man, let me look down here at the bottom. Oh, here you go. Sorry. Got it.
There you go.
All right.
Let me close this up here.
Let
Carter.
me get a
Close.
mic so we have it up.
Oh yeah. So how are you, sir?
You know, I'm good. We're just rocking along. We just had a great commissioners court. We passed our final budget and tax rate at below the no new revenue rate, which is the equivalent to pretty much the effective tax rate of last year. Second time in the history of the county.
Are you okay on how's your economics? I mean, like terms of like your economics in terms of the COVID stuff. How bad has it hurt you? Can you tell yet?
In terms of our actual budget itself?
Well, yeah, I talked to your finances in the county. Does it,
Well, the finances of the county are fabulous.
Okay.
You know, we're a AAA rated county. We got a $350 million budget. And we, you know, our appraisals are that have come in this year are solid, and we've adjusted our tax rate to compensate for the increase in values, just like we did last year, which was really part of my campaign that I ran on the previous year.
How are you handling the bar situation up there?
Well, I got to tell you, that's a difficult situation. Because you know the governor has
Shut them down.
thing that serves 51% alcohol. He's obviously shut down, and so there are some bars that are, I think, that are open. The TABC has been, I think, counting on us to enforce that sort of thing. I have not heard of any need for enforcement of it. I know that bars are shut down. I've talked to numerous guys who have told me, and I mean, just please help. We were able to get through the first wave. The second wave is killing us. And that's pretty much what has happened. Another thing that has happened is a number of bars have gone ahead and applied for restaurant license, food license, and they've been granted. And so that's been another opportunity. It's not easy to do, but some have done it.
Yeah, you know what's kind of weird is like I was at Pappas a couple of days ago in their Pappas restaurant, and their bar was packed, right? and I say, did we really decide based on a couple of percentage points whether you could be open and survive? And that all bars aren't the same. You know, a dance club in Houston where everybody's all sweaty on top of each other,
Right?
ain't the same as some bar in Cut and Shoot where a couple of folks are drinking a Shiner and dancing alone on a country western floor, right? And it just seemed to be so like unfair and punitive without any evidence. You know, one of the frustrations of this investigation I've been doing is like nobody wants to let you see real numbers, right? They just
Right.
want you to see the numbers they want you to see. And I imagine that frustrates you too.
Well, Wayne, I've had conversation with the governor publicly over this issue of picking winners and losers. And if you remember early on when it had to do with hair salons, my statement was, hey, wait a second, we love our dentists, but are you telling me that 3 hours and up to 3 hours in a dentist chair with his fingers in my mouth is I'm going to come out of there with a greater health and be more healthy than I am if I go in for a 15-minute haircut, people who are trained, who are practicing protocols? I don't think so, Governor. You're picking winners or losers. Well, eventually we got through that, and then the bar situation came up. And I'm still trying to figure out the difference because, you know, the technical difference is, do they serve food? That's basically it. And do they serve more food or at least equal amount of food as alcohol? You know, in the gun registration and being able to carry our Second Amendment rights, you know, that's, as you know, that's all part of that as well. I sit there and you and I both, and reasonable people, look at that and go, you got to be kidding me. And so we have had the governor, unfortunately, but he has, and I've told him this, has chosen winners and losers in this game for whatever reason, whatever agenda, whether he just feels like he needs to demonstrate to someone that he's doing something. And, but I tell you, I go into big box stores and I see people standing around. I don't see any social distancing, all this kind of stuff that we are pounding the little guys for, that just to me just doesn't make sense. And I just think it all needs to end.
Yeah, it may assume, but I know you've heard the stories from bar owners, right? And when I agreed to start looking into this, it was partly because some bar owners came to me. I mean, these are not rich folk, right? No,
that's right.
These are little people.
You know, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of people just in Montgomery County, in just the microbreweries and bars and, you know, wine tasting places, that sort of thing. And essentially, you've taken a major part of the market that is part of people's recreation. It's their fellowship with other people, you know, that sort of thing. And you've essentially said no. For what?
Part of the reason I want to talk to you, Judge, is because the other day you sort of went on a little rant. Call it a rant. You weren't crazy, but you went on a little rant on Facebook. What prompted that? What's going on?
Is that just the frustration level with people? You know, I mentioned in that I've been getting emails and these kids going back to school and whatnot. You know, the governor's order clearly states about masks, age 10 and above. And it says that they don't have to be wearing masks when they're outside doing athletics or playing or whatever. It specifically says that in GA 28, okay? In Governor Abbott's order, GA 28. And then we have a mother who contacts us and her young child is out in 104-degree weather. They're making the child wear a mask and the child gets sick. They send the child home. Kid can't come back until he's tested and found that he doesn't have COVID. I mean, 6 years old. I mean, come on. But this is not one isolated circumstance. There are many of these circumstances. And what I'm finding is I go places and I talk to people. People are just fed up with all this, especially in light of what is the recovery rate. Now, I kind of took it in the chin a little bit from somebody this weekend saying it's 2% mortality, which means 98% recovery, right? And so, you know, okay, 98, 99, 98 and a half with a margin of error of 0.5% one way or another on any given day. The fact of the matter is, every time I look at it, it's right at that 99% recovery.
So, look, you and I are on the same page on this, and I want to talk to you about some numbers in a minute. But every day on TV they pound us with this death thing, right?
I'm sorry?
Every day on TV they pound us with the deaths, right?
Yes.
And you and I are on the same page. No, we don't think this is a hoax, right?
No.
Right? We're not those people, right? We just say, at some point, we have to evaluate what we've done to our economy and to our life and to our people for something that is bad, but it is what it is. That's sort of my favorite expression, right?
Right.
I think you have that frustration. Your folks up there are probably telling you that, right?
Well, sure. And, you know, Wayne, in a civilized society, we live with risks every day. I mean, what's the risk of me getting into a car accident on the way to work? And the amount of people that are killed, injured, maimed, whatever the case may be, even though they may be fully recovered. And I sit there and I look at that, but we're not trying to ban cars. You know, how about speed limits? When you think about that, you know, hey, we could save tens of thousands of lives if we lowered the speed limit to 10 miles per hour. I mean, do the math. I mean, so if that's the case, why don't we just do that? Well, because it's not part of the agenda. It kind of gets in our way. But whatever the agenda is, and there are differing opinions on what that might be, we just keep doubling down on this. And I think it just needs to stop.
So what's the rule in Montgomery County right now? What's your rules? Or do you have rules? Or are you going to enforce it?
Well, you know, we do not have any orders out at all, except for the emergency order that we redid today in Commissioner's Court, which as a declared emergency still by our governor, that we fall under his authority and under his current order. Now, his current order has a number of things. It's 50% occupancy, bars are closed. You know what I'm talking about. But he also has the mask rule. And what he has essentially done in the mask rule is he has said that if you are in a commercial entity, you're to wear a mask. Well, what does that mean? That means that he is using the businesses to be the tool that punishes the people who are trying to get in there to buy. Because you cannot detain, you cannot arrest people. And so, and even though you say there's a $250 fine, well, how can I give a $250 fine on the second warning if I can't detain or arrest? That's why the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office, the constables and whatever are not paying attention to this. And if you don't think the governor knows that, everybody needs to come out of the ether on this. Crying out loud, the guy represented the state of Texas how many times before the Supreme Court of the United States or just in suits involving the state of Texas? Everything in these orders, he knows exactly what's written. And if they're vague, he knows that. Now, as far as that's concerned, you know, if you go into a place and they say you got to wear a mask, say, well, I'm not going to wear a mask. Well, now you're on their property and they can have you arrested.
Do you get daily hospitalization numbers there? Do they give you that as county judge?
Hospitalization numbers?
Yeah. See, I've always thought, Judge, that the only numbers, I don't think the number of active cases matters because we don't know how many people have it. But I think the only two numbers is the hospitalization number and the death number. The only two numbers that I think are the numbers we need to know.
I have said that from the beginning. That's why I followed this. But my first question was, how bad really is this? Well, if it is as bad as what everybody is saying, why aren't we seeing more people in the hospital? Why are we seeing numbers that have a huge discrepancy when we talk about active cases? For instance, can I give you an example?
Sure.
On the 4th, last Friday, total cases, not total cases, if the active cases are 1,294 cases.
What was that, Judge? Give me those numbers again.
1,294 cases.
And when was that?
And that was on Friday.
Okay.
4th. Today's what, the 7th?
Yep.
No, today's the 8th. So the 8th, 7th, yeah, the 4th. That was on Friday. Now the numbers are going to come out this afternoon at 3. They may change.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people were hospitalized from Montgomery County in that 1,294? Are you sitting down?
Yep.
23. So out of 1,294 people, 23 are hospitalized. Where's everybody else?
Yeah, and the active case number, Judge, is also problematic because we have no idea how many people actually have it.
We have total amount of cases that we have had are 9,164 actual cases with 123 passed away. So do the math. That's right at a 99% recovery. I look at these numbers every day. It doesn't lie. And it never changes, which was my argument to the governor. Governor, if we open, if we close, if we wear masks, if we don't mask, if we partially open, the numbers are the same. And at 99% recovery, the people that have passed away, it's really, think about this, Wayne. We just come and find out from the CDC that 96% of those who have passed away, of the 1%, 96% of those people, think about this, were already with comorbidities that were sending them to their deathbeds anyway. And most of them in ages 70, 75, 80 plus.
Yeah, so not to be the mean guy, but I was looking at these numbers too, right? And I know we're all conspiracy theorists, right? So in the city of Houston, there's 841 people who've died. Of those dead people, 433, more than half, were over 70. The total people that died from COVID with no underlying conditions is actually 83.
Out of how many? 800 and something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty high number.
But it's
for that.
Yeah, but of the people that died, 90% only had COVID only. 90% had COVID plus something else, right?
Right.
So it goes to your point, right? We're being given the wrong numbers, right?
Well, it's numbers that are disingenuous. In other words, they're saying, look, these people, they really should say how many people died with COVID or died from COVID. There's a huge difference between with and from. And to take the people, the CDC says that about that 6% have died from it. Well, we know that in the individuals who have died, I mean, there have been people that have come into our hospitals that we go back and we don't go back and look, but at the time, anybody under 50, I guarantee I'm asking how they die, because people under 50 generally don't die of COVID. So one guy comes in with a stomach issue. He's had, apparently turns out, for 10 years. He's walking in. He's almost on his deathbed to begin with. And he comes in and he's got a blockage in his stomach and the guy dies. Well, then they get signed it as COVID because they tested him and he had COVID. You can even have COVID or pass away in some counties and not be tested. And because you've been around people with COVID, they will count you as a COVID death.
You don't trust the numbers anymore, Judge.
Well, no, and you take a look at Chris Hill and those guys up in Collin County. You know, they've just flat out come out and said, not a chance, and we're not going to even report them anymore. It's ridiculous.
Last question, Judge. Is look, I've been a little surprised with Governor Abbott's response here, right? Because politically, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because I think he's angering a lot of the people that don't like the idea of government mandating anything, right? Like we have in Harris County, right? Like you could tell us we should do something, and I'm fine with going into some store and they telling me I need to wear a mask. It's their store, right? But I'm very uncomfortable with these mandates. I'm sort of wondering, do you think the governor's going to pay the price for this?
Well, you know, I don't know. I have to tell you, we all at the very beginning, I mean, think about this, Wayne. In the beginning of March, man, we're being told, I mean, you know, the president declares it, the governor declares it. I come out on March 27th and declare it. I was told we're going to have 100,000 cases in Montgomery County by the end of April. And so, you know, we're going with our health officials. And at the end of the day, 2.5, 3 weeks into it, I'm watching the numbers and I'm thinking we're not tracking to hit 100,000. We're not even tracking to hit 1,000 at that time. And so, you know, you sit there and you look at that and you go, then you look at the active cases. You go, no, something's not right. Most of these people are going to the house. They're that sick, they're going to the house. And which, you know, typically that would not be the case if we didn't have such hype about this whole deal. But the governors, I think at the outset, just felt like we all felt. Matter of fact, he held out pretty long, really, when you think about it, compared to other states. But then once number of these Democrat cities, I believe, is all part of it, got on board. You know, they're just huge cities, and started pushing him in terms of masks and giving them the freedom to do whatever and whatnot. I don't know what he thinks the future holds, but I can tell you, I know in Houston it's politically motivated, and you don't have to be a genius to figure that out. All you got to do is look at the 60,000 people that showed up at right outside the convention center downtown. And then the Republican Party wanted to have 6,500 people inside a building that would hold 50,000 people. And we weren't going to do it because it wasn't going to contribute to good health, you know, all that nonsense. I called it for what it was. I thought that Sylvester Turner pulled a political stunt.
A last question about that. You think that a lot of this is politics?
I believe absolutely it's politics. I believe that it is specifically designed to undermine a conservative party, undermine our president. And as long as we can keep the economy in a bad situation, the chances of the other side taking control, I think, is before us. And if we can't see that, we're not paying attention. I mean, it seems to me clearly what has taken place. It doesn't, I mean, you look especially some of these cities up north and some other states. Thank God we're in Texas. So imagine what it could be like.
So I love talking to you. Tell me when I'm going to get a train so I can move up there and get a train to get back to Houston. You working
man, you need to, you know, you can just come, we'll come get you. Just let me know, brother.
You find me a driver, I'll come live up there. Hey, listen, Judge, I was serious the other day. If you need me, you call me, okay?
Wayne, I will. And I appreciate that so much, man. You're awesome. And I appreciated you. I appreciate you now. I've always appreciated you, man. The voice of clarity.
I try, Judge. It's getting harder and harder, man. I don't know what's going on. But we'll keep fighting. Look, my view of this thing is that we got to keep fighting, right? I don't understand.
That's exactly right. I don't know what else to do.
In Harris County, they don't even fight. And I'm going like, what a bunch of wimps. I mean, I'd rather fight and lose a fight than just sit there and get my ass kicked.
You know, and I'm going to tell you something, Wayne. It is people are identifying with this. it is amazing to me. If you go to Keough County Judge Facebook and you look at the amount of engagements, you'll flip. It's unbelievable.
It's the what I call the hidden. You know that, Judge. It's sort of like the real folks that don't go around and protest and shit and just want to live their lives, right?
That's exactly right, man.
All right, brother. I'll be in touch. You be in touch.
All right, man. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, Judge. Well, any bro?
Yes.